What's going on, guys? Welcome to our new episode of Shahs and Kings. Out here with Keith, Weapon X, and we got a guest on the show today. Goes by the name of Yung Kasper. Welcome to the show, dude.
Hey, yo, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me. I appreciate all you guys. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to spread the word as well. You know, homie's a good friend. Weapon's a good friend of mine. So I appreciate you guys having me on, first of all. You know what I'm saying? So thank you.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. And, I had a chance to kind of check you out. And so you're a Filipino hip hop artist, correct?
I'm Korean. No, I'm just kidding. I'm Filipino.
Oh,
no.
I was like, wait. I Googled the flag. I'm like, wait.
No. I'm Filipino, straight up. Yeah. My parents, I was born here, but my parents are straight up Filipino. And I just joke around with being Korean and Chinese because Asian people look alike and shit, to me at least. So, I'm Filipino. I speak the language and everything. And proud to be,
That's awesome, dude. So, how long have you, because I checked out some of your stuff. You're pretty good. And,
gracias, man. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. You definitely bring a type of presence. And like your videos are I'm really impressed with the video quality, and you bring a certain type of energy I think is pretty unique. So something part of the thing with the show is we like to just talk to people who are doing their thing. So it's because we believe that the people become the strongest versions of themselves or the best versions of themselves when they're actually doing what they want to do and pursuing what they love. So in your case it's music. So that's why we want to have you on the show. So I'm a rapper. Weapon X is a rapper. So So what got
I
you?
exist.
Yeah, and Keith's
the god of thunder.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, man. So what got you into hip hop?
As Weapon knows, because I've known Weapon for a long time too. We all started out. I think every artist gets in the music their own way. And as for me, I've had, a very different childhood compared to other people. I bounced around a lot. I came from a broken home. My parents was always fighting and stuff. So music was like my getaway. Just like other people. Instead of doing crazy stuff or trying to just get away from bad stuff, I was always bumping music. And in a weird way, like when my dad was not, getting too physical with my mom's, he was always playing music even when I was a kid. So music was just always around me, good or bad, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
So as a kid, I first got into poetry just because I had to get my feelings out. And then, middle school, I started, I was always around my cousins. And at that time, I'm a 90s kid. So, 90s is a hip hop golden era. And my cousins was playing Wu-Tang Clan, Jurassic 5, KRS-One, all the gems of the 90s. And I had a nice foundation because hearing them and get into the vibe, I like the fact that you mentioned energy earlier with the way I rap, because being around them, first and foremost, when you get into music, if you understand the idea of what energy is, it's something that you can't see, but you could feel it. So I like the fact that people can finally say that out loud and feel the energy from me, because it took a little minute. Everyone works on their craft, and I grew up, like I said, with my cousins and try to freestyle. I say try because I'm a student in the game, so you try and you get kind of good, and someone says you suck, and you try to get better. At the end of the day, I always figured music for me was an outlet, so I never quit or stopped. It was always a getaway for me. That's why whenever I could get my hands into music or try to get into music, I always did. High school, got into rap and poetry. And that time, 8 Mile was popping. So, Jin was popping at that time too. So I was always the Asian guy. It's like, oh, let's battle the Asian guy. So I have a little background in that too. I'm not saying I'm good, but I'm saying I was so in love with music that I'm like a gladiator. Throw me out there, let me see what I could do. Trying to see what I was good or bad at. I wasn't scared of getting hit with some crazy ass lines. I just wanted to get better at saying lines. And the only way to do that was to get out there. So I have background in that.
So you were a battle rapper? In school?
No. I just tried everything. So when battle came up, I'm one of the ones that would join in just because I wanted to rap. So if someone said freestyle, I'll jump into that too. But since 8 Mile was popping, everybody battles. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll join in. Even though I'm kidding you. I'm not playing around. Every time they always want to battle an Asian guy, and I never back down, even though I got my ass kicked. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Dude,
it's very easy to say, all Asian people look alike. You think your ass is the best, take your ass to Panda Express, and the crowd goes wild. You know what I'm saying? So I grew a thick skin, you know what I'm saying? Weapon knows that. And it was just trying to earn my stripes, you know? Fast forward to everything else, I had a chance in Philippines to get into music, and I was able to get on a show and whatnot. So then basically what I'm trying to say is, even though I'm getting kind of high, like I went in the underground scene in terms of not just trying it out and just trying to rap wherever I could. And then I got to a stage where, oh shit, some people thought I was cool. Yeah, you can rap, but let's I had a manager, so he's like, let's turn you into a singer. I was 18, I dropped out of college. I went to Philippines for 3 years, and I did
What's Starstruck, right? You were on Starstruck.
Yeah, that and you know, that modeling that Weapon likes to, you know, joke around about. In a funny way.
You gotta see some
You
of
know,
this guy's photos from his modeling days, man.
and I was really out there, you know, like other people kind of say it, but I have, you know, I could show you stuff that I did this, I did that. And that's not because that's the show of that just means like, it just shows how hard I tried to get better at, you know, whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then long story short, you know, did some cool stuff on the TV show, whatever. It was cool. Ended up coming back here on some other crazy stuff. That's when I met Weapon.
So that's actually a big
Black
part
Heat and them.
So that's a big part of the story. Like, you were on a TV show?
Yeah, I could say that confidently. Yeah, TV show. I was in a couple extra. Had small parts in movies. I did some music, and they played my jingle in the mall. You know, like shit like that.
Yeah, schoolgirls chasing after him.
Yeah, man. Like, no joke. I was like Justin
There's
Lee
a video
Bieber.
out there.
Justin Lee Bieber, bro. Yeah. It was pretty cool back when there was no camera phones back then. I mean, there was camera phones, but it was like those 10-second cameras. Like, people would be taking me walking in the mall with a 10-second cameras. Like, I miss it, and I had a taste of it. That's why I work so hard, because it's like, not because of the fame, but it was because like that energy that I feel like when I walk in the room, they know me. So now it's not because they know me being famous, but know me like of my craft and my art. And you know, I take pride in that, you know, like if someone says, yo, I love the energy, like what you said, even if you didn't know my name, but you're like, yo, the energy, I felt that. That's what I really go for, you know?
So when you went to the Philippines and like, you noticed that like you had like a fan base there, like, you had you know, like, did that do something for you? Because, and I asked that because like me and Weapon, you know, like after many years of like doing our thing, we found that like we have a connection with like the Persian community. And it turns out that like that's our main family, you know, like that's our group, that's our thing. Like, did you have a similar experience with the Philippines? And also, out of curiosity, is there like a Filipino American hip hop scene the same way there might be like a Iranian American hip hop scene?
Yeah. So I'm glad you asked that, and I'm glad I could touch on it. Like, so when I went to Philippines, it was like 2006, right? 2007. And I graduated 05. That kind of shows you how old I am, you know what I'm saying? 30, baby, not there. So like, you know, 2007, hip hop over there, rapping, hip hop, even like commercial rap, they looked at it as like, anybody could do that, or that's not really for that's for like the lower class in Philippines, you know, like for some reason they're very conservative, because in rap you talk about women, drugs, bitches, you know what I'm saying? And Weapon knows, Mr. Chad be talking about, you know, bitches and all that shit too. So like whenever I would rap, they were like, nah, at that time, they'd be like, don't rap about that. We need a clean cut image. So I say that because when I got into that, that was my first experience with, holy shit, they don't really want me to sound like how I want to sound. But since I wanted to be in it, I'm like, okay, let me conform and let me do it. Like, this might be my last shot. And, you know, it was fun. Everything did good. But still, the underground rap scene, it was like, I still did my shows over there, but it wasn't as a big a fan base as it is now. Yeah. Like now, I could, you know, from Looney to Abra, you could Google those fools. Like, hip hop over there now is trending. Like, everybody wants to be a rapper over there now. Now you can walk around with tattoos over there. At that time, you know what I'm saying? I remember my homies that had tattoos, they had to cover them because it wasn't, like, it's a little conservative in Philippines, you know, like if you got a tattoo, you're probably a gangster. And not that, you know, you can't have a tattoo, but they just perceived you as that. So it was just, you know, interactions were different. You know, I'm sure you know, you guys know what I mean. Like in your home country, it's a little when they see you with tattoos and you talk a certain way, you say fuck shit, bitch. They're like,
They
oh,
think you're a drug
he-
dealer.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Straight up. With and you and whether you do or do not or however you talk, that's it. There's nothing you
get
could
that.
change. That's how they look at you. So with that being said, I was like I said, over there, it was very underground. I came back here and you know, seeing it blossom over there, I'm like, whoa. I do have a foundation there because everybody that's blown up there, they fuck with me. They're like, yo, come back here. Come back here.
Do we lose you, bro? Oh, there you go.
My bad. Oh, can you see me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see my chinky face. No,
Oh, God.
so you know what I mean? Like, damn, I'm high. What was I talking about again?
Yeah, you were talking
no, help me
about
out,
how
Weapon.
everybody fucks with you over there, and they ask you to come back.
Yeah, thank you. So, like everybody that I rapped with over there, and they're popping out, they're famous. They still fuck with me because they knew I was there in the early stages. They knew that I'm not a pretender. I was there, like I really put in work. And then me coming back over here, and they see that I'm trying as well, being underground scene and Weapon knows. You know, when I met, you know, just to put a little segue, did Weapon tell you guys how we met?
I don't think so. Actually,
no.
Nah.
This is gonna be a story.
Oh man, yo, man, you know,
Oh shit.
me, I love Weapon. I love Weapon now. Like, man, I love Weapon. But back then, he was a scary motherfucker, man. I'm telling you. Like, and I say that.
This was when?
Oh,
2014?
this was 2000. When was it, Weapon? Like, the music
It's been what, like 8-9 years now? What is it? 2021
Yeah,
right now,
man.
right? It's been 8-9 years now. So what is this? 2012, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
This is prior to you doing writer's block.
Yep, and this is prior to me rapping. I would just come and pop up because Black, you know, and shout out Black. Black was another homie that I went to high school with, and he knows that I was trying to rap too. And he would just message me one day, he's like, yo, come by. You know, some people are rapping. I know you know, he's been trying to rap, and he's like, I know you don't want to rap right now, but just come through. So I'm like, all right, cool, let me try it out. I flaked the first time, then the second time I'm like, I'll come through. So then I came through, and I'm going on Instagram or Facebook at the time, and I'm looking at some artists that he mentioned because I start, Googling people and da-da-da. And I came across Weapon, right? And at that time, Weapon had this cipher with that cipher that you guys had going on.
Cipher effect.
Cipher effect.
The music is straight cipher effect. That's
right.
Yeah,
man. And everyone was bar heavy. This shit was like raw, dope ass fucking lyricism. Like this was a little intimidating. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then I'm looking at it, and then I'm looking at the phone, right, the cell phone, and then I see Weapon in the corner, and then Bobby was like next to me. He's like, "Yo, that's him right there." I was like, "Oh man, that's Weapon. He's here." And then Bobby was like, "Yo, he's gonna be checking out your shit. If he doesn't like it, he's gonna tell you." And I was like, "Oh man, fuck, dude, I don't know if I could do it today, bro. Man, I don't know, bro." And I say that to say because the intimidation factor was not necessarily in terms of, yo, man, I don't know if I could do this. I just wanted to know that I could impress him enough to even just conversate with me at the time. That was the respect level I had because in terms of the, lyricism and art form, I was like, yo, this is what I gotta be. I gotta be up to this level to even compete. So yeah, that was my thing with Weapon. And ever since then, it's been lovely. We've worked on a lot of stuff with my art form, and Weapons had a lot of helping hand in that. Weapons see me at my dark times. Like as an artist, bro, I'm one of the realistic MCs where like my experiences fuel the way I write and rap and freestyle, whatever. So Weapons see me. I've been through, man. My ex-wife is crazy as a motherfucker, but she made me who I am now because I was in a dark place, and Weapon would be there to like, just talk me through it. And he didn't say, keep doing music, but just the fact that he was there trying to be there as a person, that was like fueling me because I'm like, this food does not have to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
level.
man. Yeah. It's
I'm just trying to support another artist in the community. You know what I'm saying? You were my boy, and I saw what you were going through. So I just had to, as a person, aside from being a musician, I just had to reach out to you and be there to support you because at the same level, you've been there to support me. I mean, you looked at me at one point as like a peer, but like I told you, these days, especially these days, I consider you like a peer. So like, it's not like you're down here and up here anymore. So, but
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah, I
gets to
mean,
when you get to know each other. I mean, when people get to know each other and you realize that other people are genuinely good people, you just if you just feel like it's the right thing to give someone a helping hand, because at the end of the day, like, I don't know if I would be me or where I am if somebody didn't reach out to me, give me a chance, or try to help me through some of my rough times. So, I just tried to pay it
I
forward,
feel it. Yeah, as it should. And that not every artist lives like that. And what I'm saying. And the fact that you even considered, bestowing that type of energy on me, like it paid dividends years later on, man. Cause like, man, the great asshole turned Casper into Mr. Chow, and you know what I'm saying? Fuck, ain't nobody fucking with me now because the fact that someone like you had my back, now that I'm able to just, stand on my own 2 feet and, people respect me a lot more now because I speak my mind more. You had a lot of helping with that. And sometimes some artists need to connect with other artists that are like in the same realm, but like they think different. And being around that type of energy, it made me a better writer. You know what I'm saying? It made me a better performer. That absolutely seeing you on Black, always performing and stuff, like I definitely watched, I watch people. I watch people that don't perform good, do perform good, perform amazing, Michael Jackson to like your next door neighbor. But like the reason I'm like that is because I want to get better. And y'all definitely had to help a hand in that, man. Cause I'm telling you, man, music's a beautiful thing, especially when you see artists like yourselves and me and, the fellow people listening or whatever. Like, it's definitely a love. And when you know that person would like bleed for the type of art and music that they're writing, like, you just form a connection and bond, you know what I'm saying? That stands the test of time. And that's how I try to say with people in Philippines, they knew I was, out there in the, dive bars in Philippines, in a third world country, trying to rap, you know what I'm saying? And like, to me, it was, I just rapped wherever I could. And I still hold that now. And it's just a mentality that, if you put in the work hard enough and you're patient and persevering, like people start listening, I always think of that meme. I always think of that meme. You ever seen that meme where like there's two pictures and then there's a dude mining for gold and he's like right next to the gold, but then he like gave up and there's another dude almost there. And basically it doesn't have to be that meme, but that's that idea. Like you never know how close you are until you keep going.
Yeah.
Like if humans really just stopped when they were told to stop, we wouldn't be in space right now. And that's kind of like my mentality with music right now. Like I'm just trying to push limits to the point where I never thought I could. And that's just the type of person I am now, even in real life. Because, everybody, the world is a crazy place. And I'm just trying to fill it with music, even talk about my crazy shit.
So what does
You
that
gotta
gold
definitely got a work ethic. I got to credit you for your work ethic. You did that on your own. You can go ahead and ask him that. I just
Oh
want to give him
man.
his
No, work ethic. Yeah, that's good. I wanted to ask, like, because you were talking about the 3 feet of gold, and yeah, that's a story I read about in Napoleon Hill's book. How to Get Rich. I forgot the name of the book or something. But anyway,
Yeah. I'm with you
uh,
though. I'm with you though.
yeah. So, what does gold mean to you? Like, what is it that? Because you're having a journey with music, you're on this path that seems to be working out great for you. So like, what is it like? What does that gold like? How do you know you have that gold in your hand? Because that gold is different for
That
every artist.
right. Look, check this out. Yeah, that's a.
You there?
Oh man, I think the signal is
Yeah,
messed
no,
up.
you're
Hold
you're
up.
on. The signal might be a little weak, but we can hear you right now. So
Oh,
I don't think he hears us.
did it cut? Did it cut off?
you
Yeah,
cut
it
off for a
did.
second. Yeah.
But can you hear us now?
Oh man.
Oh,
Came back for a second and then
Yeah.
Uh,
it's out again.
is it working?
a little bit. Your video is frozen.
Your video's frozen,
and
but
now
we
you're
can hear
gone.
you speak.
And now your
No,
video is
now you're
gone.
gone.
Oh man.
Yeah. Are you Yeah, I know. I mean, you're in your car, so would it be better if you Oh, there you go.
Oh
All right, you're
he's
back.
All right.
You're back. Okay. Okay.
yeah. Let
Oh,
me
just reappeared.
Hold on. Yeah. Let me walk over. Hold up.
And Shaheen, the book
Give me
title
like
you were looking for
two
is Think and
seconds
Grow Rich.
intermission.
Yes. Think and Grow Rich.
Yep.
Yes. I have it in my. I've literally been reading that book like as we're talking about it, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, he works that out.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yep.
And we could just like edit
How's the
this part
signal
out.
now?
Oh, yeah, we can
Oh,
actually see
yeah,
you
that's
now.
better now. Yep.
It's actually
Yeah.
way better now. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. I mean, like we couldn't really see you before. Like you were kind of like, it was dark and
Oh, my bad.
no, it's all good.
Hold on.
It's
All
all
right.
good.
The interview. Lots of rooms, but all right. Now we
It's all
can
good.
continue.
Yeah.
My bad, y'all.
No,
All
it's
right,
all
I'm
good.
with it.
All
We
good.
can we can edit this part out. It's all good. Oh no, I was gonna say, dude. I was talking about like the 3 feet of gold, and for like every artist has their own version of like what that gold is that they're holding in their hands. But I feel like, and I know I feel this. Like sometimes, like we one up ourselves, and then like we might feel satisfied for like a minute, and now but then like we're still beating ourselves up because you want to be like this good, and you're like, oh, like how come, like you regardless of how far, like this is my experience, like regardless of how far you progress like as an artist, like you still always have this like obsessive desire to want to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
Like do you know for yourself like what that gold is? Like how do you know like that you can be satisfied now, that you can be at peace with what you've created, and like,
Yeah.
or like is it a dollar amount? Is it like a certain amount of like type of clout, or and if the answer is yes, like there's no judgment. I
For sure, for
totally
sure.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like or
Um,
or is it more like an impact for your community? So would love to hear
I
your
would
perspective.
say, yeah, I would say that's a good question. I love that question, actually. I would say, and you got to walk through my mind to get what I'm saying. Like, I'm running after the goal, right? And the more I do it, because I'm feeding off the energy and my eagerness, not to get fame. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be famous, and
Yeah.
as a kid, I want to be famous. I want to be everyone's blah blah blah. Okay, I had a little taste of that. So for me now, when I knew that I wasn't famous, but I still kept doing underground shows and I still want to do music, I knew that I loved it so much that if I just keep loving it enough, I'm gonna get to something, whether it's gold, diamonds, or whatever. What I mean by that is it's not the dollar amount, because my life is getting better so much that the music has kind of taught me to be a better all around like worker person and anything. What I mean by that is it's making me realize that as long as I put my mind to it, I could do anything. So my kids now are living better. I didn't have the same childhood. So I feel like if they're my everything in my world and they're living great and they're doing good, they're able to go to college because I didn't, and they do all that. That's, to me, that's my goal. Gold and gold. Like if they're able to do things that I didn't have the chance to, and they didn't have to go through the stuff that I went through, then that for me will be the dollar amount. So it's not a dollar amount. It's just the fact that they're set. My
Yeah.
dad died when I was 22. So my dad died when I was 22. He never met my first daughter. I got 5 kids now. You know what I'm saying? I'm a dad all the time. I had 2 jobs. I have to do 2 jobs. Why did I say all that? Because the fact that my dad left me with nothing, he really left me with something, the drive to make my kids' life better. You know what I mean? So to me, gold isn't the dollar amount for me, because I can survive off of whatever. But the fact that if I could leave my kids, if I die now, I could die happy. That's my goal. You know,
I happy.
to die happy knowing that they're good. Like I ain't
Yeah.
got to worry about them. Like my job's not finished yet. If I'm still, I'll know. Like when I think they're good and they don't need me no more. Even though they say, don't leave us. Like I'll die happy then. As much as my dad, I don't want to say my dad died when he did because he had to, but he had to, because I took the mantle. I took care of my mom's. My mom's was in a psych hospital at the time, going through suicide watch. Like it made me take care of her better. I put my sister to nursing school. It made me you know what I'm saying? It made me want to take care of them. So yeah, that's my goal basically. Like when my kids are good and I could die happy.
Okay. No, I mean, there's totally a noble thing, man. Like hardships create artists.
Yeah,
Oftentimes it's that pain that forces us to like come back to the table. Get the pen
I
out.
was born in darkness. Yeah. You know.
Keith, you get a little quiet over there. You got anything, Casper?
Shaheen's asking good questions. I'm trying to think of stuff he already
don't
took
discredit yourself.
Hey,
but
man, I'm always open to answering anything, you know.
yeah. Only thing I can think of off the top of my head, what advice would you give to other artists who are coming up? Like, I know you've got a lot of drive to persevere and keep going, but like artists who are struggling, who maybe feel like, oh, there is no gold at the end of this tunnel I'm digging. Like, how do you get through that, and what kind of advice would you give to them?
I would say, you know, in the beginning, you know, it depends on what stage in your life. You know, like the 10-year-old version of me is different from the 20-year-old version, from the 30-year-old version. I'm pretty sure, you know, even when situations change, like my answer might be different throughout the years, and meeting other people from all walks of life, from overseas to people that never do underground shows to famous cats or whatever. One thing that I do know is that if you're, because, you know, it's a tough road, and there's gonna be a lot of ups and downs, probably more downs than up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I look at it like in a samurai sort of way, where like if you just commit to this is what I love to do, and this is what I would, you know, quote unquote die for, it, like you can't take it out of me, you'll know. If you keep going, usually the ones that drop off that really ain't about it, they'll drop off within 6 months. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean like, you know, you tested it and it ain't for you. I tried basketball for goddamn 4 years, and I was like, oh shit, I should just stick to rapping. And you know what I mean? Like my advice basically is, if you really love it, you really, really, really love it, and whatever you expect out of it is gonna bloom and fruit and come to fruition, as long as you love it enough to not quit. Because the worst thing you could do is quit, like I said, at anything. But if you work hard enough at it and you know you love it, if you love it, you'll ignore not having 2 people at the show. You know what I'm saying? Like if you really love that shit, you'll go. You know what I'm saying? If you hate it, but there's like I've been to some shows where mentally I did not want to be at the show because I was going through some personal stuff. But because I loved it so much that I still went out there, because I'd feel worse and it'd kill me if I don't go. Because I know people were waiting on me. And with that type of, you know, like commitment, you know, you could really change a lot of things, you know? So I would say that, like, basically, if you really love it, don't quit. You know what I'm saying? Like a marriage. You know, I've been to a broken home, you know, every couple goes through things. Like if you really love that person, no matter what they do, for thick and thin, you're going to stick to it. So that's how music is. If you're married to the game, even if she beats you down and you make no money and people trash your CD, if you really love it, you're going to get better, because, you know what I'm saying? No one's perfect, and you just got to love it.
For real, man. For real.
Gotcha. Well, that's what, because I've been there since Shaheen started rapping, because he's my neighbor. And like when he first started, he would get shit from all the kids in high school. Just like constantly about what a terrible rapper he was. And I was always like,
he sucks. He's
no, bro,
whack.
you just gotta keep working at it. And like over time, he's gotten so much better. Like, you still have those saved, right, Shaheen, to like release one day? Because like
somewhere. Yeah, dude. My very first track was a remix to Eminem's "Not Afraid." That's like,
all right.
Oh yeah, it was like the worst thing I've ever recorded. And yeah, dude, look, like it was honestly like it was terrible. I mean, maybe lyrically it was not terrible, it was just bad. So that's like a
but you hold it close though, right?
Yeah, you know,
it's your starting point.
But here's the thing, dude. I remember like this was like the one thing, because like no matter what you start at, you're gonna be bad at it until you become great at it. Like that's just no matter what it is, right? Like every legend was pretty bad at what they do. But I don't know, like rap was just like that one thing for me that I'm like, yo, I have to be good at this. Like I was never good at sports, so I was like, okay. This is like I'll be good at this, and yes, I got
see that mindset. Hells yeah.
Yeah, dude. And so like I totally like relate to you. I just had like this obsessive like desire to just want to get better each time. And dude, a lot of those dudes who like trash talk me in high school for rapping, like now like DM me, it's like, dude, like you've gotten so much better. Like, dude, props to you for still doing it.
Yes.
While they're still working like 9-to-5 jobs that they hate. So like,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hell yeah. I mean, granted, like that doesn't mean I don't struggle. Like whew, you know what I mean? Like every day is another battle. But um, I don't know, man. I feel like most people just become mediocre in their life because they listen.
Complacent, content. Yeah.
Yeah, they just kind of accept that I can't do this one thing, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll just get like a safe job at like being an accountant or something. And no disrespect,
And no
like
disrespect. Yep.
if you do those things, like those things, like there's more to life than like your career, but it's just like um I don't know, man. Like to those artists, like you just have to have like an obsessive desire, in my opinion, to keep
Yeah.
going.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this, and I'm sure you can relate. You know, every artist can relate. Rapping, like when you, as a kid, or actually when you, other people, when they see musicians on stage, right? Just like a basketball player, or if someone wants to be a basketball player, sees a basketball game. Whenever I go to shows, bro, and this is what I knew, like, I, this is, yeah. Every time I go to a show or whatever, every time I see an artist on stage, I never looked at it like, wow, he's cool. How does he do that? I always said, I want to do that. I could do that. Watch me do that.
Yeah,
You know, and whenever I never no hate. Every time someone say, "Yo, that guy's dope," in my mind, I'd be like, "All right, dope. I'm gonna be dope too. Let me watch him." You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So that's that obsession energy too, bro. That's for me. Whenever I seen that as a kid, I'm like, I could do that. I tried breakdancing, I tried tagging, graffiti, pop locking, all of that.
Yeah,
But when I got to rapping, I was like, okay. Someone said, "Hey, you're kind of cool." I was like, all right. And then I kept going at it. You suck. You suck. You suck. You suck.
yeah.
Then that obsession came in, bro. I totally feel you.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
and it consumes you at times. And yeah, and like
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and you gotta like, and that's the thing. You kind of have to like accept that where you are is like really good. And like there's yeah, sure, there's always room for improvement, sure. Even like even like the legends like Eminem, even with him there's always room for improvement. I hope he doesn't hear this because he's probably gonna diss me. No, like no
Oh
disrespect to
god.
the goat, but like he but like everyone feels that way. And I think it's like, I feel like as an artist sometimes like it feels really hard just to be satisfied with your current skill set, regardless of how far you've come. Like, do you ever feel that?
Yeah, of course. And Weapon
Yeah.
knows, like, some artists look. I mean, the times, the music in the 20s, 2010s, 2000s, 90s, whatever. If some of the old heads, as they say, like they say, oh man, the music today's whack, right? That's some of the OGs or whatever, like, oh, the music today, whatever. I never looked at it like that. I always looked at it as, and I heard Lil Wayne say this, and Eminem too, because you could tell he's switching his style up sometimes, like, or he's just changing,
Mm,
the music changes, and I feel like music's always going to be evolving and rotating. Like,
okay.
that's
Yeah.
to me, that's how I approach music as well. So I learned to adapt. Like, is if music is a concrete jungle, you got to learn to adapt to survive. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it, and that alone pushes me to get better. Because if I'm like, if that dude raps faster right now, let me try to rap faster than him. Let me
Yeah.
incorporate the cadence. Let me incorporate the wordplay, the punchlines, all of that, the crooning, the singing. You know what I'm saying? If you can become a Swiss Army knife, you know what I'm saying? Optimus
Yeah.
Prime with 2 Gatling guns and shit. Why not?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man.
What you just said about like rap though, and like a lot of like the old heads saying, like talking about the new school stuff. I mean, I don't know, man. There's so many different subgenres in hip hop now, and
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
me and Weapon talked about this, offline. But like, there's, it's like people think that the debate is between like boom bap hip hop and
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
mumble rap, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But there's so many more
There's
layers to
so
it.
many more layers. So many more layers. Yeah.
And personally, like, yeah, like I don't listen, like, no, rest in peace. Like, I don't listen to Juice World. Like, I don't listen to Travis Scott. Like, I
Yeah.
respect the hell of what they do. I think it's cool. I think it's unique. But I think what the problem is like, I guess like my only thing is like, yo, when you like, a lot of people like copy their sounds now, and they try to like literally physically and like vocally just mimic what they do. And like now
Mm-hmm.
you talk to like a younger dude, and they're like, yeah, like what kind of rap do you like, or like who's your favorite rap artist, and they'll talk, and it's like little something, like or like young this, lil that, and like even like my sister who's like 5 years younger than I am, she's like 21. And she's like, yeah, I listen to rap. And I'm like, who do you listen to? She's like, well, I really love Tory Lanez new album. I was like, Tory Lanez doesn't rap. like, I mean, like, no disrespect. Tory Lanez is dope. And I actually did hear him rap like a few times and he's good. But he like most of like 99% of the stuff he puts out there isn't. He's a singer. He's a singer. You can say you like I don't know if it's like R&B or how you want to classify. That's totally cool. But sometimes it just irks me because like I feel like rappers who actually rap without a melody, like they just get tossed aside and they're like, oh, this person's corny. Oh, this person, he's too preachy. I don't want this. He sounds like
I totally agree.
He's like, oh, this person sounds like everyone else. We're like, wait. The guy with the message sounds like everyone else. What? It's like, it's like me hearing that is like the equivalent of like a white dude complaining about like racism towards whites. You feel me? It's like what are you talking about?
I can't tell you how many conversations Kasper and I have had about the same subject. I mean, sit there literally like late nights after like a show
dissecting
at like 3 a.m. dissecting this, like eating tacos after shows. By the way, we got to get into that later. This man has an obsession with tacos and Sour Patch Kids. But yeah, I think the problem is that, and that's one thing that even when I used to talk to Kasper when he was in his growing stages, as he likes to call them, I used to tell him like the difference between a lot of these people is they lack the knowledge and the foundation of where a lot of this stuff comes from. And that's not to say that lyricists is where it came from or whatever, because honestly, hip hop started in the late 80s and block parties and people were breakdancing and that was actually party music before it was lyricism and so forth. So it's got roots everywhere. The issue is that when you talk to people like in the new era, the problem is old heads, and this is why I take a different approach when I talk to people that are younger. Old heads have this standoffish attitude where instead of educating the young heads on where the foundation comes from, or at least the ones that are open to it, because some people, young heads are standoffish too, but instead of educating them, they'll sit there and they'll just write them off. But by doing that, you're not giving them access to the knowledge that you have regarding the foundation. So when somebody like a little Yachty sits there and says, I don't know who Tupac is, or I don't listen to his music, you can't really fault him all that much. He was probably born when Tupac died.
Exactly.
And nobody was there to really instill with him what older heads had done in the past. So he's just going off of what his peers are doing. And he already has this attitude towards the music that's developed in his head that is kind of like, oh yeah, this old shit's whack, or what does this old stuff have to do with me? Well, it does have to do with you. And even so, I heard an interview later on when someone actually put Yachty on to Tupac. Tupac was like, Yachty was, Tupac isn't that bad. I know a few of his songs now. Granted, he wasn't his biggest fan. He didn't say that he turned into a Tupac fan overnight, but he had some acknowledgement for what that man had done for our culture and the industry as a whole. So I think that's where a lot of problem lies, the disconnect, and just people who are older who are watching this show. If you've been rapping MCing for a while or been a part of the culture in any way, I would advise you to just stop having that old head set mindset and be open to speaking with youngsters, helping their craft as much as at the same time maybe learning a thing or two from them, because music does evolve, and we do need to get used to the fact that their shit isn't going to sound the same as ours, because even the generation that influences their stuff that they grow up in is not the same as ours. They've got different problems, or their world is a little different than ours, so it's
the world's different,
come out different. So
exactly,
I get into that. One thing I noticed is the Kasper hat, by the way.
It reminds me of recently on Joe Rogan. He had the Undertaker on from WWE, and he was talking about how all the younger guys now are soft because all the older guys phased out at the same time and they get to mentor them. So now the program's different, and all the young guys like aren't shit basically, and it's that kind of like reminds me of like the same mindset a little bit.
Yeah. I totally agree with that, bro. Like that's a good comparison because I feel like where in rap, right? I'm not saying there's a 5 year life span or whatever, but within 5 years, a lot usually drop off. It's only a few. How they say, cut from a different cloth. Not everybody keeps going. Like the more you keep going, the less. So like, I do agree. Like in a rap sort of way, I do agree that a lot of the young guys are very sensitive, and they can't take criticism. They think everyone's against them when you just say it was all right. They take that all right and go, oh man, he's a fucking hater. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And to me, like that's kind of like what I feel like. Yeah, in wrestling or basketball, sometimes people they're too sensitive, and when in reality, sensitivity is kind of what made hip hop like you to get better. Or I think my DJ's better than yours.
Yep.
Like instead
Old
of
heads are
using
like that too.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. So
I
that
love
yeah,
the
I agree,
Undertaker
man.
thing, by the way, because I watched a lot of Undertaker episodes. I mean, interviews recently too, and the wrestling business, like you mentioned, Keith, it's a lot. There's a lot that's similar in terms of mentorship and people phasing
Yeah.
in and out and coming up. It's very similar to hip hop. I never really saw it that way, but I love the analogy because having watched pro wrestling over the years, I don't watch as much as I used to, but I have seen how the industry has evolved. It's
Yeah.
very similar to hip hop and the way that we're coming up.
Yep.
So I guess like I think like with the generation between boom bap and what's happening now, um, I just think it's such a wide gap, like that. I don't know if hip hop's experience, like for example, like the LL Cool J era in the '80s versus like the East versus like the Nas, Tupac, Biggie, like types of like boom bap flows that developed in the '90s, right? I feel like it was a casual, um, like kind of like a gradual like evolution, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, like and then the 2000s came, and yeah, there were different like types of subgenres of hip hop
Yeah.
emerged, and it was cool. But
Yeah.
I just feel like for some reason there's a huge gap uh
Hey.
between like the young, like the now, like the mumble stuff, and just like whatever was before that. For some reason, a wider gap that a wider gap now than it was like in the other eras coming up, and I'm just like
Yeah.
trying to figure out why that is. Like,
It's
and
crazy. I totally hear what you're saying, like in terms of what the wide gap now, because in terms of how it was back then, like even though they rap on certain topics, you could tell LA Cool J could rap. Now you're looking at it like times back then they glorified or you rapped about being a drug dealer. Now you got youngsters talking about I'm popping pills and doing this, and that's
yeah.
literally all they rap about. You know what I mean?
We are living in a very depressed era
Yeah.
right now. Like the young people are really depressed. So
Yeah.
even when I
It's
look at
crazy
their
times.
music right now, it kind of translates into that. I'm not surprised.
But
that,
I don't
Yeah.
get depressed when listening to their music. You know what I mean? Like I'm just confused. Like
It's escapism, they're
bro,
trying to sound like they're having a good time. You ever go out and party one night just to try and forget about your troubles, but the moment you're done drinking and you come down, you feel like shit? That's what
yeah.
I feel like modern day rappers, the young rappers sound like right now. They're really trying to turn up as much as possible to forget that they've got a lot of shit that's bothering them. But then they have, as soon as they're done, they just go, and they
Hey, as they
emotionally
say,
drop off like this.
the good die young. Everybody for some reason, the youngsters want to join the 27 club because it's cool. Like, oh man, I live life to the fullest, to the edge. You know what I'm saying?
YOLO.
Yeah, but I just
YOLO,
don't
yeah.
know.
It's like the take a pill and Ibiza song, right? It's a
Yep,
nice,
yep,
catchy,
yep.
upbeat song. You listen to it in the club. Listen to the lyrics.
Right. Yeah, it seems like the style is like they sing and auto tune their voices on
Shout out T-Pain.
on upbeat, like yeah. I don't know, man. Because like when I think of like sad rap music, like like I think of like Emin, like a Beautiful by Eminem, or like basically NF's entire discography, you know?
Yeah.
Like like to me, like I feel sad emotions listening to this. Like that
Mhm.
shit hits. I mean, and maybe that's just like my personal preference, but or even like some Tupac songs, um or like Biggie songs like When I Die, I'm gonna go to fucking hell because I'm a piece of fucking shit. It ain't
Shit.
hard to
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
Like that's sad shit, and like you can
Yeah.
tell by the
Deep.
tone of his voice,
Yep.
his the beat that they're playing. But I don't know, man. Like what I'm hearing today, like this shit's not sad. I'm like I don't know, man. I know I sound like a hater right now, so I'm trying to like tone it down. But like,
Oh no, not at all.
the,
I will say this. Like, I
You can
totally
be a hater
wholeheartedly
on your own
agree.
show, by the way.
And for me, like, some of the artists, and again, it's because some of the experiences, right? Let's say I'm gonna put an artist out there, and like The Weeknd. Okay,
yeah,
I'm a big fan of his,
yeah,
and most people probably listen to The Weeknd for different reasons,
yeah,
because he probably, oh, it's a love song, or he looks cute, females or whatever the case may be. I listen to The Weeknd and Weapon knows. Sometimes life experiences, whatever that involves, you relate to the song or artist more, and the energy, and you get sad because you know that feeling. You know what I mean? As they say, let's say Weapon got into 10 fights and I got into 0 fights. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's easy to get in the fight. Weapon's like, nah, it's not that easy, because he knows the feeling. You know what I mean? So there's some artists where I'm like, okay, I didn't get him before, but now I get why. Example, Mac Miller. I never really listened to his music before because I never hit that low. But since I seen my mom from like try to twice, you know what I'm saying? I know what he was trying to say now. You feel me? So I guess it was just basically, if you kind of connect with it, that's when you
yeah.
connect. You know what I mean? But definitely during the 90s, that's kind of what we all grew up in, and we felt that shit because it was, times were different and a little harder back then. I remember going to school and
Right.
getting into fights. I don't think kids nowadays can get into fights because their pants is so tight. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little harder, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I mean, but you remember in the '90s too, like '80s and '90s, we had this whole, bravado face on,
Yeah,
and even
yeah.
though we were doing sad songs, we still had to try and do it in a tough way.
Tough
I
way.
think I think they don't
Yeah.
really have that right now. I think you that's why a lot of
You're
older
either
heads will look at
gangster or
you.
you're emo, you know?
Yeah, like a lot of older heads will look at it and be like, man, I can't feel this shit. This guy sounds like a pussy. But like, really, I mean, that's kind of like that's the wave that they're on right now. Everybody's
Yeah, it
kind of
is.
on that thing, where in the wave in the '90s was to be this badass, with baggy jeans that looked like it would fuck
Yeah.
you up from the other side of the room. That's why I mean, even when I used
Pop,
to go
pop,
to
pop.
shows, Casper knows because he was talking about the first time I met,
Yeah.
the first time both of us met. I was standing in the
Black
corner.
leather
I
jacket,
just
black leather jacket, Chicago Bulls hat. I remember. You know
I
what I mean?
was giving him this face like, oh my god. He's like, yo, can we work together? Get on that. I'm like, all right.
You
That's
know
all
what I
I
mean? That's all he told me.
want. But then we kicked in the studio, and that when we finally did the session after a few texts, and you recently posted the photo from that day, from the throwback when
Ain't
we
that
first
crazy, bro?
recorded that
That's
track. Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
He posted that up on his stories. I was like,
Eight
damn, that
years
was that
ago.
long
8
ago.
years ago.
And we connected that day. That was the day we really connected. And he just started to see, yo, this guy ain't such a scary motherfucker. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? He's
talking back
chill.
and forth and
But
hearing your side, how you got into music, and then me. And then, like I said, I come from the 90s era, and I really pride myself in that, because I think if you grew up in the 90s era, I feel like you know what respect is and what earning respect is like. So when Weapon was kind of not standout, but when he was like, yeah, whatever, when I first met him, I was like, okay, I gotta earn this fool's conversation. And then when we hit the studio and we're going back and forth, or this how I write, let me show you some stuff. After that, I was like, you know what? These are the relationships you cherish, because when you earn it, it's so much better keeping it. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So hells yeah.
fuck yeah, dude.
Shout out Social
and
Lounge.
yeah, one of the things that we haven't talked about though, but we're gonna touch. I figured I'd touch up on is when we talk about work ethic and music, it's not always just about music. Where it used to be, you used to be able to slang tapes and make or albums and
Yeah,
make money off of
man.
that. Now, as a
Yep.
branding, you got to diversify as an artist. And one thing I know that you do, and Shaheen, you do this as well. But you know, I used to discuss this with Casper all the time back in the day. I'm guilty of not following through with it myself to an extent, but this man has like merch, and this guy has taco commercials, bro. With tacos way. Give us actually give us some insight on how an Asian guy ended up being the face of a
Man,
taco restaurant.
so you know what? That's a good story, and that's gonna coincide and establish everything we just talked about in terms of dedication and grinding
Yeah.
through music. So like, I love tacos, and I love, you know, flying high with the clouds and stuff. So when I got hungry one time, and Munchies, there's a taco spot right next to my apartment building, and I just took myself over there. Tacos Way, the owner of Tacos Way, he was flipping the tacos at that time, and I had a new CD coming out. It was Writer's Block, and or THC, I think, the Hero Complex. And on some hustle stuff, I saw it was grand opening. I had a shirt and merch on me, and I just walked in on some hustle stuff. It wasn't to gain his attention. Let's do a song. It was literally like, yo, here's the music. Check it out. You know.
Mm.
And I walked in to buy some tacos as well. Gave him a shirt, gave him a CD and everything, just to go for tacos. And then that was it. You know, I had a little sticker, merchandise. You know, which was key because I knew from being in the Philippines that branding was important when you want to get your name out, because the more people see you, good or bad, the more they want to see more, you know. So 6 months later or 9 months later, again, just me going in there and exchanging like, yo, check this out. He hits me up, Gabriel, shout out Gabriel, hits me up and says, hey man, I know you do music. I follow you on Instagram. Can you make a song for me?
Yeah.
I didn't badger him when I first met him, but just the fact he thought of me and he's seen my Instagram, and doesn't mean I thought I was saying, he just knew like I came in with good intentions with the fact that I supported him. He wanted to say, hey, let's see what happens with the song. And a couple years later, fast forward, he's got 11 chains. My music plays in his, you know, restaurants and stuff. He's got one of my songs as his T-shirts on his thing,
Right.
and you know, relationship's beautiful.
He expanded to pizza now too. He's got Pizza Way now,
Pizza
right?
Way, yeah, Pizza Way. You know, I want to. If he's listening around, I'm gonna say the songs are ready to be released, bro. Because we got a project, and he's just waiting for this whole thing to die down to
Yeah.
release everything. But there's a Pizza Way song, a couple Tacos Way songs, and a whole project. So I just feel like I never, when it comes to your music, right? And I never rushed it and got bored with it. And I knew that if it was meant to be heard, it's gonna meant to be heard, and things are meant to happen the way they're supposed to, as long as you just kind of don't force it, you know.
It's a good mentality to have for sure, especially
It's
because like yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, as artists, like and I'm guilty of this as well. Like, you're in the middle of maybe writing a song or recording it, and you're like constantly thinking, like, well, will this type of delivery or lyricism like resonate with the audience? You know, like it's just like,
yeah. We're our best or worst critics, however you want to say. You know,
yeah.
like, nah, I think this line's whack, or I should pause, or you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, you know, Weapon actually is one of the people that just said, yo, Cass, you're dope. Stop overthinking it. Just do you.
Yeah.
That alone, like, you know what I'm saying? And that's my advice to you, and probably your advice to me. If you know what I'm saying? Like, when you just don't think, sometimes, yeah, bro, the best things happen sometimes when you just let the magic happen, you know?
That's the only, and like, that's really the only way to get your reps in too. Because I remember for like, you know, I've been writing lyrics since like 2009, 2010, and I've been releasing, you know, at first garbage in 2010, but I would say like I would put stuff out at a pretty slow rate up until like 2018. Like, you know, I'm talking about like maybe 6-7 songs a year I'd like force out, and like, but I feel like once I started, like, and then like 2018 I did this thing where I'm like, look, I don't know if each verse is gonna be good, and some of these verses might be trash, but I'm just gonna put them out once a week for like a few years, and really, like, that's when I grew the fastest. You know what I mean? So I mean, not that I wasn't growing before that, but it was really like, I remember from there on out, it was just like, and that's like when my following started to grow. So like, really the only way to like really get your like reps in and to improve is just like be okay with writing crap. Like, just like,
absolutely,
like,
bro. Yes.
Yeah, like be okay with writing shit. Yeah,
I totally agree with you. And as they say, you know, slow movement is better than no movement.
Yeah.
People are sparring, you know, boxers, I'm sure they're not, you know, Floyd Mayweather's on their first day. So as rappers too, so you only get better if you know how bad you are. If you were always cool, it's, you know what I'm saying? If you were always cool, you probably wouldn't pay attention to it as much. But when you know your flaws, you're like, okay, I gotta work at this, do that. Like I always, me personally, bro, and as you say, like some people take criticisms different. Da, da, da. Me, I like it when people say, when I like it when my show was not perfect. When someone says, "Yo, you tried this," I'm like, even though I thought it was not, in my mind, I'm like, you know what? Let's up the ante. Let's push it. Only because with my mindset, and you know, it's all or nothing. So I can't be like half-assed with nah and be, you know, hate on that comment and like this comment. That's not right. I gotta take in every comment. If you're gonna be a sponge, you gotta take in every comment. So with all these things, I just take it into account, try to incorporate, see what works, see what doesn't. And sometimes I learned over time, like when you let things out, things, you know how like when you freestyle and you just say what's on your mind, right? We've been at shows where like the mic gets pulled and this and that, and somehow the show was still dope because the energy you still carry. So no matter how perfect you try to plan a song out, sometimes my best songs were the ones I never even thought that were dope.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
some songs where I was like, my delivery sucked. It was so, but then I'm like, oh, I love that song. I'm like, wow.
Dude,
all right.
I know exactly what you mean. It's crazy. Like I'll listen to like my own shit and be like, yo, like I don't like this. And then like I'll send it to like Weapon, or I'll send it to like on like or like other, or Keith or other people, and they're like, yo, this is dope. And I'm like, but and then like I'm still, but you guys are my friends. You're gonna say that, and like, and then so I'll send it, so I'll send it to like more people, and they're like, "Yo, this is like really good. Holy shit, this is like your best one yet." I'm like, "Okay, I'm not that close with you, so maybe you're telling the truth."
You always got to be improving too, because like Shaheen, you thought, remember when you came out with Rise, you were like, "Yo, this is the pinnacle of what I can come out with as an artist right now."
Yeah, that was
and like now you look back on it compared to the stuff you're making now.
Yeah, I can't even listen to Rise anymore. Yeah, so like Rise was a song I dropped like in 2014, and at that time, it was the best thing I put out. At that time, like comparing, and I remember like I was scared after this because I'm like, what now? Like what? Like this is it. Like and I honestly like at that time thought this is the song that's gonna like get me like international level like
we all have those.
This is gonna be that. Dude, I invested so much money, bro. Like I mean, now that I look back, I didn't really invest that. Like at that time, it was. I remember I paid like $500 for a music video. I built like this massive like this little poster board, like I like, and then I had like a bunch of my friends like take like profile pictures of him holding it, put it on their Facebook, and honestly it worked at the time. But like, yeah, dude, but like you'll always, even like today, I'm like, yo, how do I get better than like what I am today? Like I talked to Weapon X the other day. I'm like, yo, like, do you ever feel like you're plateauing, or like, and he's like, you just gotta keep going, dude. Like,
yeah, you know, yes, and I agree with you too. There was times when I was like, damn, my these 5 songs kind of sound like my last 5 songs. I mean, that's cool, but like there's got to be something I got to try different, you know. And the only thing that I could say with how I got about doing that, I feel like it's one of those things where if you're a writer, and you know how I think everyone gets writer's block in their own way, but you know how people be like, I can't write anything, right? I'm at the point now where I'm like, I don't force it. So I'll be like, oh, if I can't write it, I know I'm a good writer. It's all about mentality. So if I can't write right now, I know it's going to hit me like in 2 days. I ain't worried.
Yeah.
So with the mindset, I know that my mindset, yeah, man, 10, 20 years ago, my mindset was like, this is my dope song. I'm going to blow up. Then when it didn't work, I got down. I was like, oh man, I thought he was going to love it. Mindset. Now I put out stuff. I'll be like, oh, how you like the song? It's all right. In my mind, though, my confidence level, I'm like, it'll grow on you. Watch. Mindset.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
sure. So we so far this podcast has been going on for an hour. So if you wanna, no, that's dope. That's like that's
Mr. Child talks way too much. My bad.
No. We holding you up. We got time.
So if you don't tell me to shut up, I'm gonna keep going.
No, we definitely want to hear more from you. I guess like I noticed your last Instagram post. You're selling merch. Do you have any music up on like Spotify, Apple Music, and all that stuff?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
You know, you can Google my chinky ass on just type Young Casper, and all my stuff pops up. I'm on Spotify, iTunes, and all that good stuff. My videos everywhere, merchandise. You know, good. The cool thing about having your merchandise, you know what I'm saying, is that I trademark my shit now, right? And and now I'm like, hell yeah, try to jack my shit. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
take I take a lot of pride in the branding because I did work hard at trying to put it out there, and it took a while for people like, yo, actually no, it didn't take well, but I'm saying like the amount of time people don't know how much amount of time it takes into putting stuff together, the planning, the
Yeah.
blueprints, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, I got a website is under construction, but definitely obviously just hit me up and everything's through PayPal, and I got the site up for Big Cartel or whatever. I forgot the link, but Young Casper should be. But yeah, man, everything's up. It's cool.
I
Hell yeah,
credit
dude.
this man, by the way. The stuff that I can sometimes when we have discussion, remember I explained to you, Shaheen, baby steps. This is the motherfucker that taught me about baby steps because I was full force ahead at one point. I was just like, bam, bam,
Oh,
bam. I gotta go, and then he's like, and then when it didn't happen right away, I was just like, man, this man right here is like planning, baby steps, baby
It's
steps.
oh
literally baby
man,
steps.
yeah, it
And
Baby
was.
steps.
Yep,
I
baby
still
steps for
use his
sure.
little quotations in there, baby steps. Right. I mean, good things take time to create. The good things come to those who wait. Better things come to those who chase. But it still
Nah,
takes time, you know. And
yeah,
so I credit you for that. And as you know, thank
thank
you.
you.
By the way, I know that it was a while, but we released recently with Black. We did Chop It Up, and then we got what? You're on your eighth project now. Is this track that you just sent me? Because I know that we're kind of announcing it now, but we're not going to tell them what it is yet. This track you sent me, the with the
Yeah,
trap beat, is that going to be for project number 8?
yeah. Project number 8. Project number 8. Yeah.
So 8. So what is it? 8 years now, 8 projects, right?
Yeah. Every year, I try to drop something, and
That doesn't count the features either.
no, yeah, and I'm always doing music and doing stuff, and it just I never planned to. "Oh, I'm gonna drop one every year. It just something always happens without me asking, and it just okay, it's time to write. And the beautiful thing about music is like and me and Webb have been friends for a long time. We're always open to work on tracks, but the beauty that's why I always think our tracks are special is because it's never like all right, Weapon. Even though we could do that, like here, let's play some beats. Yeah. No. But then all of a sudden, when it's like, yo, Web, I hear you. You need to get on this track. That or vice versa. Like, yo, Cass, there's this track, chop it up. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of things where the person as an artist, and you hear those tracks like I'm on this. Those are the special tracks that make albums and milestones and progression and whatever better. You know?
Yeah, for sure. It's got to feel right, you know. It can't. It's got to be organic. It can't be
Organic.
feel forced. I always preach that all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Hopefully we can get a video in for that too when it's done.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and by the way, hey, when you was talking about Shane was talking about the spend a lot of money on that video, that single. I always look at it like this, bro. I spend a lot of money on my music too and branding, whatever. I always look at it as if you put a lot of money into it, as do doctors and lawyers and whatever in their craft.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
we just put money into our PhD. We're just more experienced. We just put money into it. That's why we know
Yeah.
what we know.
That try explaining that to your like immigrant parents, like my immigrant parents, like oh my god, dude, like
Oh man, trust me. When my mom's be going crazy too, I'm just like, all right, mom, I'm gonna get out of here. You know what I'm saying?
and you know what's crazy, man? Like people go to college,
Yeah.
like so many people go to college with the intention of becoming a doctor, but
Uh-oh.
so
Can you hear
many
me now?
people. So, yeah, are you there?
Oh man, hello.
There you are.
He's here. Oh, at least freezing up a little now.
Is that
Yeah.
cool?
Oh, there we
Oh.
are.
I
There you
think
are.
you're back.
Yeah,
You're back. There's movement.
there you
Yeah.
are. Yeah. I was just saying, like, so many people drop out, and so many people, like,
Mhm,
they
mhm.
might go to college to be like a doctor or like try to go to med school, but instead they like chose a completely different career path. So like,
Mhm.
because something that we hear all the time as artists is like, oh well, there's no guarantee. I'm like, true, but there is no guarantee when you go to school. I mean, look, I had an insurance job for 2 years, and then like I was 20, so basically I got laid off, and but now I didn't really care. I was actually pretty pumped about it because it gave me more time to work on music, but I felt bad for people who were like in their like 50s.
No, is it a long time or can I eat without you?
Hey, can you, my bad. What's up?
No, it's all
Sorry.
good. No, it's all good, bro. No, it's all good, bro. I was just gonna say, I really felt bad for the dudes who were, or the women who were in their 50s or 60s, and they gave like so many years to that company. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, there goes that promise of the guarantee, right? That like,
And did you really love it? You know what I
right,
mean? See,
right,
that's why props to you, props to me, props to everybody on this pocket. Like when you love it, if you walk, if somehow something happened, you're like, well, that's how much I love it. That's the name of the game, you know?
yeah,
Hells yeah. But I know plenty of people that went to college, they spent money and got the degree, and that's not what they want to do, and now they're just doing something else.
yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
And the people that I know that are doing their 9 to 5s like me, I had 2 jobs and I was still doing music, but because I was able to still do music, I'm a happy ass dude. Because I didn't look at my jobs as I never looked at my jobs as my main job. Music is my main job. My other jobs to supply my music. That's how I've always looked at it. It took a while, but
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, this is my main. You know what I mean?
for sure. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a healthy way to think about it. Like because, um, you're because now you have a purpose to be there at work. You know,
Mhm.
like all right,
And
like
then
like being at work in a way, like your 9 to 5 job, did feel like you're working on music. It's like, well, this is my music because the bills are going to studio time or
yeah,
paying for a
yep.
lease or whatever you use your money for. So
Mentality.
yeah, Whew. So good, good shit, man. I
Man,
really
so we went over an hour, huh?
yeah. There is no
It's
like time
okay.
limit. It's just like
Oh, okay.
I just made it. I just made that note. I do like your shit, man. I think it
Oh,
was
thank you, man.
unique.
Appreciate
I
it.
think it was cool. I think you should keep doing it. And
Thank you. Appreciate it.
and yeah, and in the Instagram post, we'll definitely give you a shout out and encourage people to go check you out.
Thank you.
Hell yeah,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Any
Hey
But
final
man,
shout
appreciate
outs or
y'all for
anything?
having me on there. Well, first of all, shout out to you guys, especially Weapon. Weapon's always been in my corner, even just as a person. So, you know, whenever he needs me, I'm always there. And he's like one of my favorite low maintenance relationships. So shout out to you. Cause you know, we don't talk all the time, but when we talk, I never shut the fuck up. So thank you. Shout out, shout out 27 Junkie Records, shout out Tacos Way, shout out Young Baka Productions, shout out House of Needles. Shout out to everybody that supports Young Casper, Mr. Chow. Look out for my new hoodies. And you know what I'm saying? My show's coming up, got a tour coming up. We're going to Houston. So
shit.
appreciate everybody. My new single, What You Heard, coming out soon too. Yeah.
Are shows allowed in Houston, like live performances?
So not huge ones. It's more like under the table stuff. So like one of those safety first, but yeah.
Yeah, fuck.
It's one of those live social distancing events. Yeah.
Oh, great. That's the next super spreader event, man. Now I know where it came from.
Oh,
Oh,
Mr.
come
Chow
on.
says sorry.
Keep that off the air, man. At least let the man get his hustle.
Oh god.
Now you're gonna have Newsome like knocking on your door, right?
Right? Oh no.
Fuck
Yeah.
Newsom. That's all I have
Appreciate
to
y'all,
say.
man. Thank
Hey,
you.
but thank
Appreciate
God,
you,
at
man.
least
It
Newsom
was great.
lifted the damn restaurant order and stuff yesterday. So
Yeah, that
you
means
can
we could all
actually
get
sit
tacos.
outside. Yeah, me and you are overdue.
Yeah.
Hells yeah,
Oh,
let's do
shit.
it.
No,
Do
we in
it.
Connecticut. It's not that bad here. Actually, I just went to the gym for the first time today in like 2 months, and dude, it was rough. Just like
Oh man, you in
yeah,
Connecticut, bro?
yeah, dude. It's ass
Oh
here, dude.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
How's
Shahid
it
in
over there?
Connecticut are both. I mean,
it
Shahid and Keith are
sucks.
both
Yeah.
in Connecticut.
Dude, I would rather be in LA during this pandemic than in Connecticut with no pandemic. Like
No way.
that's how much I hate this place. Like, like
Well, you need to invite Mr. Chow over there because it's always Liddy in the city with Mr. Chow.
hell, okay. Me and Keith would like take a
Oh,
train to
shit.
like Manhattan or some shit. Like you know, like that's just like what we would do. Or sometimes we go to like we'd find like some city to pop and chill in. But no,
Shit.
man, this place is dead.
Well, Shahid's gonna come out as soon as this stuff dies down to California because we actually recorded a song and we have to do a video.
Oh damn!
Which is,
Let me hear that.
you know,
Hell yeah!
yeah,
I'd
no,
love to
I
check it
mean,
out.
no, definitely. So like, but we're working on something else that we could film separately, but this actually requires us to be together. So
Yeah.
when he heads down to LA, I'll let y'all know. We'll all connect, and you can buy us all tacos from Mr. Tacos.
Let's do it.
Yeah, dude,
Hey, just so you guys
wanna
know,
see LA.
no less than 4 tacos. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Hell
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Hells yeah. All right, appreciate y'all, man.
All right,
Hells
guys.
yeah.
Well, it's been
Appreciate you,
real.
man.
It's
great.
one sec. Hold on. All right. All right. Peace out, guys.